You picture a quiet village on a Sunday night, right? Just peace. But then you hear about what happened late on April 13th, 2025, in Kachchala village. It's in Madhya Pradesh, Neemuch district, really close to the Rajasthan border.
Yeah, it completely flips that peaceful image on its head.
It really does. And what happened there, it's quite shocking. It makes you pause.
Absolutely, because we're talking about an attack on 3 Jain monks. These are individuals committed to nonviolence, simplicity, resting at a Hanuman temple of all places.
Exactly. The contrast is just jarring, isn't it? Peaceful monks, a sacred space,
Yeah,
and then this violent confrontation. It really warrants a deeper look.
it does. And for this deep dive, we've gathered information to try and understand, what exactly went down and why it's caused such a reaction.
So let's set the scene. It's a quiet Sunday evening, this small village, and these three monks, they're on a spiritual journey, walking barefoot as part of their practice.
Right. They follow the Shwedembar tradition, known for their white robes and strict asceticism. Renouncing possessions is central to that.
And they're just looking for a safe place to rest overnight. They find shelter in this Hanuman temple, which isn't unusual for religious travelers.
No, it's a long-standing custom. They weren't bothering anyone, just planning to spend the night peacefully.
But that peace was shattered. Around 11 p.m., things took a very different turn.
That's when 6 young men showed up. They arrived on 3 motorcycles, apparently.
And they weren't locals from Kachchala. They came from Chittorgarh, which is just across the border in Rajasthan.
And reports suggest, unfortunately, that they might have been intoxicated when they arrived. Their entrance wasn't exactly quiet.
No, and then comes the demand. They allegedly asked the monks for cash and valuables.
Which is just absurd, given who they were talking to. Monks who have taken vows specifically against possessing material wealth.
It's hard to even fathom. You can almost picture the monks trying to explain, politely but firmly, look, we have nothing. What could they possibly carry? Their robes, maybe a begging bowl.
Exactly that. Their whole way of life is about non-possession. So their response would have been simple: we don't have anything of value.
But instead of understanding, or maybe just leaving, the attackers,
Yeah.
they reportedly reacted with violence.
Yeah, the reports say they used sticks and rods, attacking these peaceful men.
Inside a Hanuman temple, a place people consider sacred. It turns this sanctuary into, well, a scene of violence.
It's a profound violation, isn't it? On so many levels, attacking symbols of peace in a place of worship. The aggression is just startling.
It really speaks to a lack of respect, maybe a breakdown of something fundamental, respect for religious figures, for sacred spaces.
And to try and extort something from people who have nothing material to give, using violence,
Yes,
is
okay.
deeply disturbing.
But even in that horrific situation, the monks showed, well, incredible courage.
They did. Despite being injured, head wounds, back injuries, neck pain were reported, they managed to escape.
Imagine that. Injured, barefoot, in the dark, fleeing for your life.
It really shows their resilience. And one of them, even in that state, managed to flag down someone passing on a motorcycle. That's quite something.
And that's when the community stepped up.
Yes, the word spread like wildfire through Kachchala village. People heard what happened, and they didn't hesitate.
They went after the attackers.
They did, chased them down. They actually managed to catch 2 of the 6 right then and there. The other 4 got away, at least initially.
Wow. That's a powerful community response, looking out for people seeking refuge.
It absolutely is. That quick action by the villagers probably prevented things from getting even worse for the monks. Their solidarity was crucial in that moment.
Okay, so the community acts immediately. What about the authorities? How did the police respond?
The Neemuch police were alerted, and by all accounts, they acted very quickly, too, which is good to see.
How quickly?
By the next morning, that would be Monday, April 14th, they had all 6 suspects in custody.
All 6. That's impressively fast.
It really is. Superintendent of Police, Ankit Jaiswal, mentioned they acted on specific information. Getting everyone involved so rapidly likely helped calm things down significantly.
Do we know who these suspects are?
Yes. The names of the adults released are Ganpat Naik, Gopal Boy, Kanayala Boy, Raja Boy, and Babu Sharma. And there was also a minor involved, reportedly 16 years old.
And they're all confirmed to be from Chittorgarh.
That's right. All from just across the state line in Rajasthan. Like we said, not distant strangers, but from a neighboring area.
Which almost makes it feel worse somehow. Neighbors turning on neighbors, in a sense.
It adds another unsettling layer, definitely. It highlights how close these communities are geographically and how frequently people probably move between them.
So they're arrested. What kind of charges are they facing?
The police filed charges under the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, the BNS, several sections.
Okay, like what?
Section 115.2, which is about causing hurt to extort something.
Yeah.
Then 119.1 for public nuisance. Also 191 for rioting.
Rioting. That implies group violence, doesn't it?
Exactly. And finally, Section 3.5, which covers joint criminal liability, meaning they're potentially all responsible together for the crime. It's a serious set of charges.
And the police are looking into their pasts, too. SP Jaiswal mentioned that.
Yes, they're investigating if these individuals have any prior history, any pattern of behavior, trying to figure out if this was just a random, horrible act or a part of something bigger.
That's a crucial question. Was this opportunistic, or is there more to it? And it also raises questions about, well, prevention.
Definitely. Understanding their background is key to figuring out the motive and potential future risk.
Now, naturally, this attack caused a huge outcry.
Understandably so. By Monday morning, Singoli town, where Kachchala village is, saw a complete shutdown.
Shops closed, streets empty.
Pretty much. It was a protest, a strong statement against the violence and the violation of the temple. The Jain community was central in organizing this.
A very visible way to show their anger and condemnation.
Extremely. A ban sends a powerful message of collective feeling. It showed how deeply the community felt about this attack on religious figures and a sacred site.
But the shutdown didn't go on forever.
No, it was called off later on Monday. There were discussions between the protesters and senior officials. The district collector, Himanshu Chandra, and SP Jaiswal were involved.
And the fast arrests probably helped ease the tension.
Almost certainly. The swift police action showed the authorities were taking it seriously, which likely paved the way for dialogue and resolving the immediate protest.
But the community didn't just stop there, did they? They took further action.
That's right. They submitted formal memoranda, letters essentially, to the chief minister, Mohan Yadav.
What were they asking for?
Primarily two things: demanding full justice for the monks who were attacked, and crucially calling for better security measures, especially for religious places in rural areas.
So looking beyond just punishing the attackers to preventing future incidents.
Exactly. It shows a concern for systemic change, for long-term safety. It's proactive.
How did the government react to this?
The response from the top was quite strong. Both Chief Minister Mohan Yadav and the Deputy Chief Minister Jagdish Devda issued statements condemning the attack in no uncertain terms.
They made it clear it wasn't acceptable.
Yes, very clear. And interestingly, CM Yadav made his statement while he was in Indore for Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's birth anniversary events, which kind of highlights the priority they gave to addressing this quickly.
Public assurances of firm action. Trying to reassure the community, I imagine.
Precisely. Demonstrating commitment to law and order after such a shocking event.
But here's something really troubling we learned. This whole thing. It might have been preventable.
How so?
Well, apparently people in Kachchala had actually alerted the police before this attack happened.
Alerted them about what?
About suspicious individuals from Chittorgarh seen hanging around the village. Loitering.
Wow. So there were warnings.
It seems so. And the fact that these warnings reportedly weren't acted upon effectively, that's deeply concerning.
That raises serious questions, doesn't it? About local intelligence, about police responsiveness to community concerns. If warnings were missed, that's a potential lapse that needs looking into.
Absolutely. It adds another layer of tragedy to it all. Now, shifting back to the monks themselves, their reaction, their resilience is quite remarkable.
It really is. After everything they went through, their initial response was rooted in their deep faith.
They initially refused medical treatment.
Yes. Apparently because of Jain customs that restrict certain activities after sunset, including going to a hospital for treatment, even with head injuries, back pain.
That level of adherence to their vows, even after a violent assault, is, well, it's intense.
It's a powerful demonstration of their commitment. They did eventually seek care, though.
When was that?
The next morning, they went to a Jain-run medical facility for treatment and then rested at a dharamshala, a type of community lodging. So they balanced their principles with the practical need for care.
Their fortitude is just incredible. Now, we've touched on this, but this incident feels like more than just a botched robbery.
Oh, definitely. The symbolism is huge.
Right. Attacking monks who represent nonviolence, detachment, in a temple, a place of peace. It feels like an attack on those very ideas.
It's a violation of something fundamental, a desecration of a sacred space and an assault on core principles. And the fact the attackers were allegedly drunk just makes it seem even more senseless and disrespectful.
A complete disregard for religious values, for basic human decency, perhaps fueled by alcohol.
It certainly amplifies the sense of outrage.
And we talked about the proximity, Neemuch in MP, Chittorgarh in Rajasthan. They share a border. People cross back and forth all the time for work, family, everything.
It's not like these were total outsiders from a faraway place. It drives home that breakdown of neighborly relations we mentioned. It happened between communities that interact regularly.
Which raises broader questions, doesn't it, about safety in these kinds of spaces.
For sure. Are religious sites, especially in rural areas, becoming more vulnerable? Are temples, dharamshalas, monks, nuns, priests, are they targets now?
And what about the role of alcohol? How much does alcohol-fueled aggression contribute to crimes like this? These are big questions.
Hopefully the police investigation into the suspects' backgrounds might shed some light on that. But yes, it forces us to think about security at religious sites and the impact of substance abuse on violence.
Throughout this, though, one thing has been constant: the response of the Jain community.
Absolutely. Unified, strong, and very clear.
The band in Singoli, the memoranda to the government, it all points to a very clear demand for accountability.
And not just arrests, but real justice and, importantly, preventative action. They want assurances this won't happen again.
Which leads to the big question now. Will the authorities follow through? Will there be lasting measures? Increased security, better community policing in these areas? Or will it fade after the arrests?
That's the critical point, isn't it? The community has made its expectations clear. The long-term government response will be key to rebuilding trust and ensuring safety.
So, reflecting on this whole incident in Kachchala, it really brings several things into sharp focus.
Yeah, like the vulnerability of people just seeking peace. Religious travelers relying on the sanctity of certain spaces.
And the importance of community vigilance, that solidarity we saw from the Kachchala villagers, how vital that is.
And underlying it all, the absolute need for respect. Respect for peaceful individuals, respect for sacred spaces. It seems so basic, but clearly it can't be taken for granted.
Ultimately, this makes you think about the fragility of peace, maybe, and how connected we all are. When something like this happens, it ripples outwards.
It's a sobering reminder, definitely, that values like nonviolence, respect, tolerance, they need constant attention, constant reinforcement in our communities and our society.
It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it, about the deeper reasons why something like this could happen. What does it say about us when symbols of peace are attacked so violently? It's certainly something to reflect on in our own lives, our own communities,